Good evening and good morning to Australia. Actually, it's near end of morning. Hi, Chris. Hi, Tai. Hi, Tai. I like that saying.
Hey, morning, honey. How you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Tai. Nice to have you here, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
I love your name, Tai. Tai Weed. Tai Weed. Weed. It gets me thinking about some bliss.
It actually derives from my middle name, Taiwan, but I don't know where it came from. Someone called me that first in North Carolina, and then when I came back to Detroit, which is about 1,200 miles away from North Carolina, people were here calling me that too, so it just kind of stuck, you know?
Well, I like it. It suits you well.
Yes, it does.
So, Tai, you're actually on the show tonight talking about a specific subject, and amongst other places we may go. But last week you were unfortunately cut off through technical problems. So let's recap on the Rh negative blood group.
Okay. The Rh negative blood group, there are two classifications that we use nowadays. Even though they're distinct, they're usually called together in medical nomenclature and scientific nomenclature nowadays, but they're actually two distinct blood groups. You have the A, B, and O blood group, and then you have the Rh negative or Rh positive blood group. Rh stands for, and not a lot of people know this, but Rh stands for rhesus. And the factor that they call the Rh is a factor. It's really either the presence or non-presence of a specific antibody or antigen. These antigens in the blood trigger the immune system whenever it detects something foreign in the body. And back what I was saying about the rhesus is it sort of links, well, not more than sort of links, but because there are genes that humans share in common with primates as well. But as far as the blood goes, we also share, 85% of humans share this antigen with the primates, all of them, from the rhesus to the great apes. And this topic is so deep, Ronny. You with me?
Yeah, I know. No.
It's so much. I'm trying to make sure I don't skip. I'm trying to be clear in explanation on this because it's not really talked about in science circles or medical circles really beyond the point that there is a Rh positive and a Rh negative. But what we have here is a case where there are different species within the genus. Now, when most people talk about human beings, they try to make distinctions between race and only race. But the Rh negative factor goes beyond race and geographic location. All civilizations of humans on Earth are known to have some population, at least, of some Rh negatives, even if it's only a minor percent. But go ahead, Ronny. You can cut anytime that on.
I was just wondering whether you could go over the percentages, maybe, of the ratio between the blood groups of positive and negative.
Yeah, actually, I can. I don't know it all right off the top of my head, but I know just basically it goes that between Rh negative and Rh positive people, it's about 85% of Rh positive people to only 15% of Rh negative people on the entire planet. So that kind of shows indications of an endangered species within. But is to break it down between A negative, B negative, AB negative, and O negative, it gets kind of, and then you can go between the races and geographic locations, but it breaks down kind of. I know that AB negative is the rarest. B negative.
Yep, 1% of the world population. So
yeah, 1% of the world population, and that's very significant. I mean, that shows a very endangered, section of the human population.
My God, I have to engage myself. I'm endangered.
Buddy, I found out a really interesting thing today. You were discussing how you found out your blood type in the Army, and they told you that it was the universal donor blood type. Is that right?
It was, in thinking back, somebody remind me where I was at in explanation back, but I do want to touch on this. We talked on it a little while. Chris Wild was on last time, but thinking back on that day, we were in a room and there were about 80 to 100 guys in the room with me. We were all filling out administrative paperwork, just entering boot camp, and they had drawn some blood from me, and the guy came back with some medical records and said that I can't remember his exact words, but it was something to, you're rare. And I looked up at him, and he said, you're O negative, the universal donor. And he just stood there and just looked at me. He didn't say anything, he just looked at me after that, and I was looking at him. It was my first time hearing, universal donor ever in my life, and I'm like, huh? And I didn't say anything, he didn't say anything, and he just looked at me for a couple seconds, he turned around and walked away. And that was the last I heard of it until actually earlier this year.
Well, I did a bit of research myself since we last talked, and I found out that Ronny's blood type is a universal donor for plasma to all the other blood types. That's amazing in itself.
Yes, and
I always thought I was plasmic.
It's just amazing that a person could be walking around with something pumping through their veins that is immunosuppressant to other people. Just, different parts of the blood can be used in medical procedures and in drugs, actually. It's amazing. When I first found that out, I was floored. I mean, it goes, universal donor is one thing, being O negative. For those who don't know, whenever I reference universal donor, I mean the O negative blood group. And there are about 5 to 7% of us on the planet. And being that I have African American in me, I am about 3 to 4% of the entire world's population. But where are we at now? This topic is so vast. Even though not a lot is known about it, because there's not a lot being spoken about it.
No, it's almost become a taboo in some places, because it's people think along the form of eugenics and separate, making people, giving them labels and trying to separate them and that type of thing, and making one group feel more special than the other for some reason. And most people are trying to get away from all that sort of thing and just realize that we're one.
Right.
Just to give people an idea out there what we're talking about, Truth War is about to play a vid when he's ready, with a soundtrack of just a little bit of behind the medical scenes of RH negative blood group.
Yeah, I'm still trying to pull that up about the exact percentages, but
yeah. Oh, Truthful, when you're ready too.
But I'll carry on for a bit.
Yes, please.
It's so much to cover, Ronnie, and I wanted to comment on what Chris just said, and I'll try to go back to where I left off at. But I feel that, and I know though, Chris, that it is when you talk about it, you have to kind of deal with that criticism from time to time, even though that is not what I'm trying to say in making this information public. is that
neither am I.
Rated as something special. No, it's not trying to say that, but a lot of people don't realize it. And up until the 60s, there was a mortality rate that was kind of unexplained in birth, of child, because naturally, and especially after the first time, except in rare cases, Rh positive man and an Rh negative woman cannot mate naturally, and being that 85% of the human population is Rh positive, what's the chances that is going to happen? So, for a long time.
It's not so much the first child, an Rh negative woman and a Rh negative man can integrate together and have a Rh positive child. The first child is not the danger; it's actually the second one.
Yes.
And that brought us around to thinking that's a programming.
Yeah, that's
not a natural occurrence. That's programmed into us, or into those people where it happens.
What are our bodies?
One child. We can only have one child.
And that is, I guess, I'm trying to do a lot of study into how we became this minor percentage of the human race. And, those things are out there, but there is also other things where the genocides and things that have been carried out, you start to look into those things and it kind of get creepy at certain points in history when you look at certain populations that was wiped out that was rumored to be mostly of Rh negative populations.
Well, history is pretty creepy, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's what has kept me entwined in it for about 15 years. It just keeps getting more interesting and interesting. It's better than any fiction piece ever.
Apparently, there's there's a lot of experiments done on Rh negative children as well.
Yes, I don't want to talk specifically about those things now, but I want to touch on it. The only reason why I say that is because I don't know the names of everything right off the back right now, but it's been going on for quite some time throughout history, and it almost seems as if somebody, even though this information is just getting out, it seems like somebody for a long time has known about the two different species. Like, for instance, the Indians, the thing they did with the blood brothers, where you cut your hand or you cut your thumb and then you put the blood together, it would, if it was the Indians' way of determining if between Rh negative and Rh positive, because if one of the participants in that was Rh positive and the rest were Rh negative, or vice versa, the blood would clump together. And
it's an amazing test. We've got to go into that a little bit more. It's something that I haven't actually had a blood typing done. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be an O type because my mother was O positive and my father was an O negative. So I'm guessing I'm probably going to be an O, and I think I have the traits of the O negative pretty down. And that's probably how they did it in the past, when there was either the blood brother test or the trait thing, I think.
Yeah,
and an interesting subject that we should talk about after you finished here talking, Tai, and I had to interrupt, but the traits of the Rh negative is interesting within itself.
Very, very interesting in the accuracy that I've found just going through life and thinking back and checking back with people who after I found out the significance, checking back on people that I've known for years that I suspected was Rh negative. And it's funny how we have similar behavioral traits and interest traits that are sort of uncanny in certain instances. But
very in common, and and it's not until you join some groups and realize, wow, I thought I was the only weird ass.
Right. But again, that goes back to ancient times as well, because in Japan it is always, well, as far back as a lot of people can remember, that has always been like a thing along with their zodiac that goes into figuring out if two couples will be compatible or this, that, and the other, as far as behavioral and character and talent too characteristics.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, it seems like somebody in history for a very long time, from BC times, has known about this, but nobody has been telling the public. So, but that's true of a lot of things. So, that part, in my research, that part didn't surprise me at all.
Well, I would like to actually do a survey one time on the RH negs that have shamanism characteristics. And
there's certain things with, we were talking about the characteristics and traits. It goes deeper. Like, there's certain traits and even diets for like the different.
Oh yeah, yes.
Different blood groups, and I've heard that they work well with people as far as mental capacity, and energy and things like that. I've found some people who eat like that. It's funny because it seems that RH negative people just naturally know what's good for them. I'm not saying RH positive people don't, but when you look at the public, traits that everybody pretty much agree with that RH negatives have, this, that, and the other, that is one of them. Like, we just naturally know which path to take on a lot of things. And
yeah, if I need to eat broccoli, I need to eat broccoli. I tell you, I will do anything to eat broccoli.
Right. It's funny, but there's one thing with O negatives that it's funny because a female friend of mine was she always, and we have this in common, is that things that are supposed to, like drugs that are supposed to sedate you, actually wake us up. And things like coffee that are supposed to spunk you up actually makes us sleepy. So me and her had this thing in common for 7, 8 years. We knew about this. And when I found out about this O negative and all that, I was reading through the traits and I seen that, coffee knocks somebody out like Valium is one.
Well, I don't drink coffee at all. Just can vouch for that because, trying to get a coffee in this place is just non-happening.
Say Australia is not happening.
Oh, it happens elsewhere. Trust me, we got a huge population that drinks coffee, but we drink tea. That's got caffeine in it.
Yeah, that has a little. Yeah, it has a little, but it kind of like coffee and tea rather sedates me. Coffee, if I drink too much of it, I get like this jittery thing. But
yeah, well, caffeine can do that to you.
And you know what? Another reason, Ronnie, why I don't want to go specific into the traits is because it's back to what Chris was saying earlier about this special thing and distinguishing between. And, that some of that stuff will kind of make people feel like we're trying to say we're special. No. Throw some of the listeners to the wayside. They may not understand what we mean by what we're saying and how true it actually is. But
yeah, sorry about that. I just got sent a file in the chat, and I was trying to open it, and sorry for my neglect.
Oh no, it's all good. I was seeing the same pop-ups. I guess some of the same pop-ups. But to go back to the significance of the medical significance of RH negative and RH positive, it's there's a complication that happens during pregnancy when RH positive man and a RH negative female tries to produce a baby. If any of the blood mixes between the woman and the fetus, her immune system, the antigens in the blood alert the immune system, and the white blood cells will come and attack the blood system, the red blood cells specifically of the fetus, and cause anemia, or even death. In other words, the immune system of the woman attacks her own fetus. So that's a strange occurrence that.
And it is very true. It is very true. My first child was H positive, and I had to get my blood tested on a weekly basis. I was suffering definite. The rain is bad. Yeah, I was suffering definite.
Hello, Ronny.
Definite anemia.
Yes, and it's serious. It's called hemolytic disease, and it's regular and it happens. And in the hospital, the doctors just treat it like it's a normal thing that happens, which in fact it is, but they don't go into the specifics of why it happens.
Well, they told me it was because I was a vegetarian.
They told you because you were a vegetarian is the reason why you had anemia and you were having problems with your... Wow. What year was this in, by the way?
1986, because she was born in March 1987.
Well, they should have known by then because RHIG, or Rogum as it's called, was brought public in 1968, I do believe.
Well, Australia is behind the times at times.
Yeah, you know what? That's the thing between international ties. That's one thing I like about the internet and the fact that we're doing this radio station. And I mentioned on Facebook how it's between 4 countries. I think that even the citizens should interact more, and that wouldn't happen a lot.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there, bro. So we're just battening down the hatches here because there's a rainstorm happening, and you won't be able to hear us if we don't shut all the doors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard Ronny fight for a minute. I had thought I got cut out of the call.
Oh, it was the storm and the rain, and maybe it's coming into Black Sunday.
What is? Oh.
Well, 3 days of sack. I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought about it, and well, it is coming into the day. Well, friend of mine just walked into
that's how you've got the young one, isn't it?
All Souls Day. But it's funny how you say certain things like that to people, and they give you this crazy look they've never heard. Even though we're off topic, my bad.
No, that's so good, buddy.
But the different names given to Halloween throughout the ages and how they relate to each other. But
we went to a Halloween party last night, and Australians don't even celebrate it, but apparently the guys that I work with do. And
any excuse for a party. We even borrow other people's holidays to have parties with.
And you know what? That's how it got so big, and that's how a lot of these holidays got big. It's just an excuse to have a party, a feast. Which is nothing wrong with that at all, actually. But I'm one who, if I'm partying, I want to know why. I got to know why. You can tell me the most.
Take it back to pagan times, brother.
Yeah, you can take me all the way back to the pagan times, and I'll be even more excited about the party after that. But that's just the type of person I am.
Well, you know what? We didn't dress up creepy. We probably dressed up more gypsy-like than anything.
Well, yeah, I think I've created a new fashion statement. It's like wearing 2 hats at the same time.
You were wearing 2 hats last night, Chris?
Yeah, man.
I got sick of it on my head, so I put it on his. But it suited him. 2 hats, 2 faces.
Yeah. You guys. Anyway, back to the RHs, okay?
Oh yeah, I'm sitting here reading statistics, and I'm like, I don't want to get we're just having a little light conversation because any one little thing I bring up, any one little topic involved in this, I probably could go for about 20 minutes straight on just one thing, like hemolytic disease. I can talk about that for about 20, 30 minutes, and the two different species.
Got about half an hour, so go for it.
Huh?
Do you reckon that's related to the hemorrhagic disease that's prevalent in royal families in Europe?
And there's talk about that too.
Why is that happening?
Yes,
because they're interbreeding. Yeah, interbreeding, I suppose. One royal family married to another royal family member and all that.
And it's on for a long time.
Don't they call them the blue bloods?
Yeah, they do call them the blue bloods, and the weird thing about that is, a lot of people talk about they are Rh negative as well. But what's funny to me in that is that all this time the general public has not been paying attention to all this talk about bloodlines between the religious scriptures and, even current in newspaper, blue blood, this, blue blood, that. And we still don't think we think there's more significance to the month of the time of year you're born than we do to blood. But that shows that there is some significance to do with the blood. And if hemolytic disease happens in the royal families, and it also happens with this thing between the species, I like to say that, because in fact there are Rh positive and Rh negative. When they try to mate, then this disease comes about as well. And they actually use O negative blood, part of the blood products to fight against this immune system attacking the fetus of an Rh negative woman who has been impregnated by a Rh positive man. And
the other interesting thing was that link that you posted up on our pages a little while back about the bone marrow transplant given by the O negative blood type man, and he cured the dude of AIDS, wasn't it? Or HIV at least.
Yeah, he cured it, but it was. See, they don't. I've done research into it, and I cannot discover whether or not he was Rh negative. It was something to do with his genes. It was a gene called CCR15. Yeah, CCR15. I forget the whole nomenclature of it, but that is, I bet if you pull CCR15 up, you'd come up on it. But that was the gene that was involved in that. But I'm pretty sure that, well, of course, Ronnie, you should have caught me in that. Of course he had to be negative, because in order to get blood transfusion, he would have to be a universal donor, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
And it has been stated many, if you do research, it's been stated many of times that Rh negative seem to have immunity to HIV, and also apparently cannot be cloned.
Yeah, they cannot. We cannot be cloned at all. That is significant, and also significant.
A programming trait, I think.
Also significant, I should mention, to do with the Rh negative. I have another O negative person sitting next to me, a friend of mine. He just walked into. But
no.
Another thing about that is that the Rh negative blood group does not have common lineage with any other animal on this planet, or that factor cannot be found anywhere on this terrestrial sphere, if I should say that. So they don't know where it comes from in normal speak. So that's significant as well to do with it's just so much to do with the Rh negative blood group that they are not saying that outright saying that is very significant and needs to be looked into very more intently by both medicine and science.
And that's probably why they're doing so many types of testing on Rh negative children, and coming back to some traits that are extraordinary.
Yes. But see, they're doing these studies, they're conducting these studies, but they're conducting these studies behind the veil. Like, they're not publicizing. You would have to pay for a subscription and know how to read through all this craziness to understand their studies, their research, and they're not putting this out in the. I mean, I think this stuff should be front page news. I mean, when Rogan came out, I wonder what's the numbers on the amount of children that it allowed to be born into the world after its invention. But it got no mainstream news. So,
yeah.
And it's a medicine with virtually no side effects, really, besides, a little tenderness from the injection site. But I don't know if that's more to do with the needle or, the blood product.
Look, I've had the needle many times. I've had quite a few kids, for those who know me. Quite a football team, actually. But not that bad. I'm just joking. But yeah, there's no side effects, and pretty much if you are married or partnered with a Rh positive male, you're pretty much going to have to get used to the jab if you want more than one child.
Never mind. I heard you right, but I was trying to tell my friend here. You said this before he walked in, or just as he walked in, but they told her in 1986 when the reason why she had to get the Rogan shot is because she was vegetarian. That was
lack of amino acids.
Yeah, something like that. That was a wild.
Certain amino acids.
Yeah, because they said that's why I was suffering from anemia.
L-lysine is a supplement which digests amino acids.
So that could have been a probable reason. Not to get a Rogan shot, not for your immune system.
No, but certain amino acids are only produced in the human body by consumption of red meat. And if you're a vegetarian, you're not getting those certain amino acids.
But your
you can get
attack your.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, well, what they told you might have not been all that, far-fetched. Just from what he's saying.
What I'd always understood anemia to be was a lack of iron in one's blood.
Yeah, they did put me on iron tablets, yes.
In which you have to have some vitamin C to absorb it. So being a vegetarian is great because you already had lots of vitamin C in your system.
And you know what? He just asked an interesting question. And this is one thing that's significant between, that they say is significant between Rh positive and Rh negatives. He said, and pretty much Rh positives and every other animal on the planet. He comes back and he asks, you said something about iron. He said, well, what do you get from blood? In other words, what do you get from meat? Iron. So, if you're a vegetarian.
Oh, you do, absolutely, yeah.
Right. Certain amino acids are only produced to digest.
Yeah, they say to call the royals the elite blue bloods because their blood is more copper based, and Rh positives are known to be more iron based.
So I just have to suck myself.
I just had to throw that in there.
But all blood.
She wants to bleed me. Phlebotomist.
Dracula from way back.
You hear me, Ronnie? I actually have some training in that. I can coach you from here.
I actually
tempter.
Everyone I look at their veins first.
Well, like from the inside out.
Do we have another speaker tonight?
Yeah, we've got Fred with us. Fred Cusinato from Canada. He's going to be.
Fred.
Hey, yeah,
I
see him commenting.
Come and say hello, buddy. Come and say hello.
Yeah. Give us a break. We've talked about ourselves long enough. for a while, anyway.
I thought all of that was pretty darn interesting, and geez, I could listen to you guys for another hour and a half at least.
Well, you've got to hand your blood over first, bud.
I'm thinking that you probably... Do you know what your blood type is, Fred?
I actually know, I don't.
No, I'm another one.
Most males don't. The reason why a lot of females do is through the pregnancy situation, or if you're in the military like Tai, or if you've been in an accident or had some type of health issue. But majority of males do not know their blood group, or unless you give blood. So get out there, give some blood, find out who you are, where you are in this world, and also you're helping someone else, huh?
I don't think they'll take my blood, actually.
No, we could knock out armies with our blood, bro.
Pretty much.
Well, unless you gave it to someone like Tai and he'd be like, you'd be awake for a week.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, you said it affects them differently, so... Yeah, we know a few other people that have mentioned that lately, that up drugs make them down and down drugs make them up.
Well, speaking of that, a lot of young folk that have been diagnosed with ADHD or different mental illnesses, they go through using Ritalin and get out there as a teenager, and I've had mums come to me and say, oh my gosh, my son took some speed last night, and he said, Mum, it didn't affect me. I wonder why.
Because they're already fried, that's why. That would be what I would see.
Hey, interesting question about the Ritalin I have. Is there fluoridization? Is the water is there fluoride in the water in Australia, New Zealand, or Canada? To all three of you guys?
Well, yes, for Australia, it has been for as long as I've known. We actually lived on a farm, and my mom was provided with fluoride tablets because we had soft water tanks. And
yeah, we got given those too.
Fluoride tablets.
Very occasionally, but I was lucky enough to spend my entire youth up until age of about 18 on non-fluoridated, non-chlorinated home supply water that was, I'm sure it had a good effect. And we got given those fluoride tablets a few times. I remember the little white.
They're green. No, ours are green.
Oh, we got given a little.
Okay. Well, the main ingredient in Ritalin is fluoride. Think about that. Ritalin is like 90% fluoride. Chlorine is used in another. I think it may be Prozac.
It all ties together.
Yes, it does.
Damn.
I just wanted to. You brought that up, so we were talking about the kids and how, and it was all over the world. They, as I was growing up into the 90s here in America, they start. They was giving that stuff out like candy to the kids. It seemed everybody had ADHD, and it was giving a lot of children Ritalin and then Prozac, and then when you look at the ingredients list like somebody like me would do, and you look at it and it says fluoride is in there, and then you look at the news and they tell you to drink 7 glasses of water a day, and it's like, huh? Are they trying to slow me down?
I think I'd prefer to drink 7 glasses of wine a day.
Yeah.
Antioxidant, yeah.
Right outside my house. I need to start stomping things.
Yeah, I had a.
Well, as long as you keep your glutathione levels up, you're fine. That's the most natural antioxidant in your own system. It's a natural antioxidant. No. Oh, yes.
I believe that's antioxidant.
Yeah, I know, but gosh, it's 11:43 a.m. in the morning, and I'm already on my way
All right. We'll
to vacating.
Let that one slide.
yeah.
We knew what you meant.
I don't take meds. That's my problem.
Say that's your problem, Ronny?
Yeah, I refuse to be labelled, and I refuse to take meds, and I don't care whether you think I'm a mad bitch or not. Take me as I am.
Right, and that's pretty much the way I am. Without the bitch, though. Without the bitch.
Occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally I might bitch, but
Well, nature kind of took it out of my hands. I can't take meds either, so they make me violently ill, like sick for 24 hours, vomiting, and that's terrible, man. So I can't take any of that unnatural stuff either.
And it
doesn't work with alcohol either, by the way.
And it seems the older I get, actually, more and more unnatural things, like kind of get to me. Like I used to like candy a lot, and now it kind of fast food. I can't eat as much of it as I can eat a home cooked meal.
Exactly. I feel totally ill if I have anything from those fast, like McDonald's or Hungry Jack's or Burger King or whatever you call them. If I have something from there, I feel immediately nauseous. And I can't even eat the whole thing, and it is wrong, and I know it is. Every time I lift it to my mouth, I just have the do I have to?
Right, because you bought it, you like, I'm trying to eat it, and in a sense it's good, but it just don't feel right, when it goes down, and it, I don't know, it's weird. I thought I was just, but,
No, you're not the only one. I mean, and Chris can vouch for me, like, the last few times that we've been forced into that situation, I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, embarrassing. My system decided it needed to go to the bathroom before I even left the place. So, damn, it was like, oh, quick.
That's because you ate my order as well as your own. Overfilled.
Because your body's like, I told you don't eat this stuff, and you gonna scarf it down. Well, we gonna see about that.
Put it in solid, we're going to take it out liquid.
Hey, we have a caller. Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Princess Pink.
Hey,
hello.
Hey,
hi.
How are you, honey?
I'm fine. I'm Rh negative, and I'm constantly anemic. I'm never not anemic. I found out that I was Rh negative through just being pregnant and get my blood tested and everything. And after every pregnancy, I've had to have Rogam shots. And I never knew what it was for, or I didn't ever get it. I never knew what they were. Okay, I got to get a Rogam shot. I never knew until recently that there was some sort of weird thing with it. So this is kind of interesting.
It's like I'm glad you called. Actually, it's easier to carry on in this conversation actually talking to someone who may have a question or a concern about it, or somebody who's went through something like yourself who doesn't understand exactly what's going on. You should eat some liver probably once a week, at least once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
First off,
honestly, I have this desire sometimes to eat lamb's fry, which is lamb's liver, and you got to have it fresh, and it's got to be totally red, not a pale red or a pale brown. It's got to be really the red rawest meat, and I know this sounds gross. For a vegetarian, it's grosser. But you have to do this sometimes, and what I do is just cut the liver up into like little strips and flour around, and then really quickly fry it you need to keep it red, and that's the unfortunate part. But that actually gets rid of your anemia and gets you back on the road again. And I hate doing it, but I love it.
Right. Well, I eat normal and I eat meat, and I don't starve myself. I eat vegetables and meat and all of that, and it's just weird because every single time I'm anemic. Every single time. And
here's also one of the traits of Rh negatives universally is that our body temperature is a tad bit, just a tad bit, lower than Rh positives. And females are normally known for the chills. So that could be, I'm not saying like you tripping or nothing like that, because I know it's real. Don't take my words as saying like, oh, just forget it. No, because I'm not saying that, but I'm just explaining to you that it's natural that your body temperature may be, even on the thermometer, may be like maybe up to a degree lower.
Yeah.
That's normal for Rh negative. So
and I have, on top of it, I'm ADD.
Okay.
I've suffered for that my whole life. I don't know if that has anything to, you said something about it's one of the traits maybe of being Rh negative is having ADD.
No, not
that can also be passed off as manic moments as well.
You know what, though? See, okay, there's some similarities that we have in growing up, although all of us don't, just like any human, nobody reacts the same.
Right.
But there are things that we tend to, like, kind of see or get that nobody else gets, like, to the point to where, like, you couldn't find anybody to explain anything to you. They look at you like, what made you even come up with that question? And
that answer.
Or the answer.
Damn,
right.
he's picked you there, Pink. He's got you right on the slap there. You were right.
I think that a lot of us have been affected psychologically and traumatically to the point to where we can't get answers. And it's funny with Rh negatives especially is that when we get a question that just pops into our head, it's like it must be answered. You must figure it out. It's weird how it does, because you may not even think about it all the time, but you find yourself coming across little things that'll lead you.
To process.
So
and if you don't process it, nothing makes sense unless it's processed.
Right, and so that a lot of people have been affected traumatically. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not a doctor, but I can say that those medications that they give people are geared more towards squashing your natural attributes and traits than than they are at curing you or helping solve the situation. So in a sense, it makes it worse because you still have all these similar, the desires and thoughts, but you can't, you don't feel like you want to do anything about it when you're on the drug. So it's like a double whammy,
Exactly. I just got them talking about that because I am on so many different pills right now, and I'm numb. I'm completely numb to everything. And when I'm not on pills, everything is hilarious. I almost feel like I'm high because everything is so hilarious and funny, and I'm giggly.
Because you know what you're doing? You're actually walking through life as an observer, not as a participant.
Yeah. And I get really extremely sad. I get really extremely angry. Everything's extremely funny. There's not like a middle ground for me. So when I'm on these pills, I'm just like blah,
Right.
It's just I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't.
I want to suggest something to you, Princess, is research mindful thinking. That's mindful thinking. And, this type of I'm not even going to call it a therapy, actually, because it's pretty much common sense. Mindful thinking. Mm-hmm. Be the observer and look at your life as if it was you're the director. You create, and you know that, and you have that inner feeling, and you know, social conditioning stops us as young. Wow, the amazing kids that we are. It's social conditioning stops our imagination. It stops our flirtation with the universe, so to speak. So, mindful thinking. Please, all of you, whether you're RH-neg, RH-pos, do some research on mindful thinking.
Okay.
Might help in this day and age.
There are always I hate to call them natural because, it's funny how they put labels on things like organic and stuff like that. Things that come from the earth are meant for us. And also along with the vibrations and energies that is manifest from here and out in the universe are here for us to take a hold of. And, a lot of these techniques have been used. I've seen someone actually I know them personally, but they cured a lot of their anxiety disorders. They had OCD, and they kind of did therapy with meditation between yogic therapy and acupuncture, and they're like a totally, completely changed person now. So,
oh wow, yeah.
All those pills are not the answer. Like you said, it's like a double whammy. I'm damned because and then when you get to the point where I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, then you become in an increasingly depressed state. You know what I'm saying? Which,
right.
Pharmaceutical, I hate to talk about, but
you can go there. You can go there. It needs to be said.
Yeah, you get into a whole other topic when you talk about big pharma. I mean, there are there are so many medications that have debilitating side effects now that the people should know that they're not cures and they're not looking for cures.
True.
But there are herbal remedies, and it's funny. Well, it's not funny at all, but throughout it's the ancient cultures and things like the Native Americans and the ancient peoples on all the continents of the world, pretty much, they had, and we are raised and educated to think that they didn't know they was doing all this magical whatever hoodoo, but their stuff actually works. And you can find a lot of things.
Shamanism.
Yeah, and you can
shamanism, witch doctors.
A lot of things that grow right in the ground. And with the internet, you can do like little searches on herbal remedies and things like that. And although when you do these type of searches, you have to be wary about where you're getting, and do a little background search on the people who you may be ordering these things from. But
right,
you can even grow lots of medicinal stuff that will help you do things. Help you out with your anxiety and things like that. Do you smoke weed?
Me?
Yes.
I love weed, but I don't smoke it. Okay. Only because of it being illegal, and I have kids, and I just don't want to have to look behind me and that whole ball of wax, But yeah, if it was legal, I'd go buy a pack of freaking marijuana every single day.
Are you in America or?
I'm in Iowa. Yeah.
I can tell by. Yeah, I can tell by. Iowa is not a state that has. Iowa is not a state that has medicinal marijuana.
Oh, no, and if it was, I would be getting me a prescription.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do have medicinal marijuana, and I sometimes forget. I'm in Michigan. I'm in Detroit, Michigan. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, and I'm under the thing that it's free it's legal for everybody medicinally. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think that. Okay, which state are you in?
I'm in Iowa, so it really sucks. But if there was any kind of march going on, if there was any kind of anything, I'd be right in on it because I'm a big one for making it legalized.
Well,
it ought to be legalized everywhere,
isn't it? Isn't it weird how something natural can be illegal?
And
I know, it's ridiculous.
So it's a whole other topic.
It's totally stupid.
It's like making coriander illegal.
Right.
Hey, Princess, do you know that marijuana used to be a cash crop in America? Like, at one time in certain states, you could pay your taxes with hemp, they used to call it.
No, I did not know that.
Yes, it's true. Matter of fact,
Washington was a big farmer.
Yeah, all the founding fathers pretty much, and have made comments about how vital it is to the prospering of America growing hemp. Henry Ford made a car out of hemp and I think it was soy. Was it soy, Mark? Yeah, hemp and soy. He made the body of a car out of hemp and soy. It actually competed with the plastic industry, the paper industry, the clothing industry. It makes clothes stronger than cotton. It would have competed with the flex fuel that's coming out now that's made by corn.
Hemp me up.
And there was a whole conspiracy, actually, and you can do an internet search once you get off this call or whatever if you want. Look up the name William Randolph Hearst. If you can remember that. Or just look up the marijuana prohibition, and if you look deep enough, it'll tell you all these things that back in the day, like in the 1700s in Virginia, you can pay your taxes. It was counted as a legal tender. Like, it was counted as the paper dollar back in the 1700s.
Wow.
And this was before anybody used to talk about really smoking it or anything like that. And when it came to the 60s, when people did start smoking it, there's things that points our government to having influenced the whole hippie thing and LSD trips and a lot of things here in America.
I remember a really great quote from, I think it was Washington, and when he was asked a particularly difficult question, was saying, that's a two-pipe answer, I think.
I actually find it quite amazing. Sorry to get off weed to coke, but when I was in South America and in Peru, and I learned that the corporate had a big play in the slavery of the South Americans with the coca leaf and thus Coca-Cola and da-da-da. That's a whole big yarn too.
Well, the Kennedys freebasing it at all their parties.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not lying. Coca-Cola. Oh God, we could go off into.
Getting back onto the natural part of it all, I find that if it's unaltered from nature, that it doesn't have what I don't really like to use the term, but a karmic effect. You notice that anything that's been altered by man has a karmic effect as a drug. You don't get no karmic effect from weed, but if you drink whiskey that's been altered by man unnaturally, you get a karmic effect from that. It's called a hangover. You know, same with meth.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. I cannot drink.
True. For the most part.
Does anybody that's RH negative, do you get sick when you drink alcohol or drink too much? I mean, does it when it hits your blood, does it do anything weird, or do you get crazy, or?
I become an alien.
Yeah, I'm one of the few that it doesn't affect that way.
Yeah.
So I've got the gene that takes the alcohol and gets rid of it as well.
Same, Chris. You know, I can drink, and as you know, I drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and still exist.
It's like functional.
Well, when I drink, it acts like immediately my personality changes. I mean, to my first drink, my personality changes, and I get deathly sick.
Stronger or not stronger? More confident?
Usually I drink whiskey. Whiskey really, really makes me be outlandish, like stealing cars and stuff like that.
Oh my God!
And I don't do that stuff.
You will find, Princess. Oh, go ahead, Princess. Go ahead. We can cut you off.
I mean, I've done outlandish stuff on just drinking whiskey and Coke. I mean, just stealing cars, and of course the old waking up next to somebody that you don't know, and just a bunch of just crazy stuff that is out of my character. I mean,
Princess, alcohol.
Just by that, I just wondered if it was.
No, it's not. It, you know what? It could be to do with, but I think a lot of people are affected by alcohol in that way. But you know what, though? Some of the two things you mentioned, I haven't been known to go on a car stealing escapade, but I've been known to do some criminal stuff that I would not normally think to do or even dare do if I was sober.
Right.
Every alcohol affects me different. Like a beer. And different beers affect me different, but beer like kind of sedates me, like a coffee or something.
Me too, yeah.
Without the after effects of coffee, though, the jitters. But white liquor versus brown liquor is ridiculous. Now, if I am to mix the two, like say for instance, I was drinking a shot. If I had a double shot of gin at 2:00, and at 6:00 I took a sip of some Hennessy or something. Hoo-wee. Better watch out.
Oh, I get sick of that dog.
Watch out.
And I absolutely, not to say that I don't smoke when I'm at a party or socially away from my house with others, but if I mix alcohol and smoking weed, I am out for the count. I am immobilized. I just puke my guts out and I'm immobilized. I can't move.
I don't know whether that's probably across the broad spectrum of humanity, whether you're RH positive or RH negative.
Yeah,
if you're only smoking weed once in a while, it has a much stronger effect on you, and especially if you're mixing it with alcohol and you don't do it very often, that'll knock you out, all right, and especially some of that real strong skanky stuff that's coming out, has been out for several, the last 20 years almost, but it's a different powerful sort of weed, man. And they also say that the indica variety, which is that the skunk is derived from, is a more of like a couch potato, sink into the carpet sort of a weed, whereas the sativa, which is the one that generally grows more tall and is quite a different leaf makeup, is more of an up drug, like gives you a high, like a coke type of thing.
Well, listen,
I don't know. The New Zealand weed is fantastic. I got to tell you that. But,
the funniest people to smoke weed are people with ADD, and they just
good for a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm one of them where I just say outrageous, off-the-wall stuff when I'm on it because my brain's going so fast.
I love that about it, though. It makes you, like, it's not a high or a low, it's like a sideways.
Right, I like it because it makes me laugh.
Never blame it on the guns.
What?
Wasn't it the Anunnaki that the very first plant that they rescued after the Great Flood was the grapevine, so they could make their wine again.
Yeah, that was the grapevine.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't RH negative blood group people supposed to have Anunnaki history?
Something, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, well, see, you starting to hear about it then. You were not totally new to it. I think,
yeah, that was a few months ago.
Here's the truth about it, Princess. All of humanity has ties with the Anunnaki and other races of
definitely other
beings from the heavens, I guess you could say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that
because I heard
too.
I heard that most people have the monkey gene, whatever that is. I can't remember the name of it. That monkey gene. Right.
Yeah.
And then the RH negative people, they don't have that, which they don't know what that is, because the rhesus thing is what makes you human.
Hold on. Let me.
But the RH negative people don't have the human gene.
Let me be clear in all this too, and this is something that a lot of people overlook when they talk about this. Now, although RH negative people, although we may not possess it in our blood as far as the antigen goes, we do share genes with the primates. No,
right.
We do share genes with the primates. So just because you're RH negative does not mean
and DNA.
Yeah, and DNA. So that does not mean that we don't share. I mean, human beings share genes with fruit flies and worms. So, I mean, we're not for real though.
The pig intestine is just ours.
This is another thing though, Princess. Every human on the planet has about 230 something to 250 genes, or maybe more, that are not terrestrial. They don't know where these genes come from. And that's everything.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Positive and RH negative. So, when you start talking about RH negatives and star seeds and things like that, you can't get too deep into it, because when you go look into genetics and things like that, you see that we all share. We're a product, like they say, from dust I came, and to dust I shall return. Everything on this earth we are related to. It's a part of us.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
All of us. So,
along with our vibrational energy and frequencies.
We all share that too, and it's at a measurable frequency and everything, what she just mentioned. So and that's where it goes into saying that we're all one and things like that. So that is true, but there are significant differences in the human population and everything else on the planet, as was mentioned earlier. But
we're the reason.
Just because we don't contain the similar antigens in our blood, we still do. RH negatives still do share genes with primates. So.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. So.
Yeah, a lot of people have.
But I suppose
you have to be careful what you listen to out here, because like they say, there's always two sides to the truth, and everybody speaks a bit of the truth, but all of it is not the truth. And sometimes people do that purposely to mislead, but a lot of times it's because we just don't know.
That's true.
I just try not to claim nothing. If I say something, even on my Facebook page, if I say something, I try to if I'm making an opinionated statement, I try to state that I'm making an opinionated statement. I don't try to claim. And nobody here does, actually, in this forum where we're talking right now, but
I'm going to make one right now.
Who will tell you something to be all hyped.
This is going to make an opinionated statement. Welcome. We're waiting with bated breath.
Oh, wait. Now, you guys are familiar with a gentleman named Alex Collier, who's a supposed contactee with the Andromedans. In one of his talks, he was talking about all of the different Edens that have been in on Earth over the years and giving dates for them and places for them. And these are pretty much like what you call settlements from extraterrestrials. And one of them that he mentioned was a place called Basque Country, Basque, which is kind of in like between Spain and France and in that area there. And that area is the area that has the highest Rh negative blood concentration per population in the world, pretty much. And he said that the Eden that was there was a visitation from the constellation of Lyra. So they were Lyran. And that's why the language of the Basque people is completely different from any of the languages around them as well. They kind of kept to their area. And that's my opinionated statement for the day.
Good call. Good call.
Interesting.
You know what is peculiar most about the Basque is that if in fact that their civilization comes from, ancient times and has been preserved right in the middle of war country, I wonder how that came to be.
Yeah, well, there's several of those little tiny countries there. There's Andorra, and I think there's a place called Navarro. They're like little tiny principalities in between France and Spain. They're like some of the smallest countries in the world. So, yeah, they've done similar sort of thing too.
And yeah, it's whatever is said about the Basque, whether it's extraterrestrial connections or not, there are a lot of peculiarities, like you mentioned, the language. I find it very funny when linguists can trace the origin of every other language on the planet besides the Basque, and they also have the highest percentage in the world of a blood type that nobody can explain. That is rather peculiar and worth looking into for anybody who is interested.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's also interesting.
Yes, it is. Beyond interesting. It's like mind-blowing. And to be a part of the Rh negative group, I think it's important for all of us to be aware of, even all the rumors and all the mentions about Anunnaki and all that stuff. I think all that is good for everybody who is Rh negative to be exposed to and sort it out for themselves to form their own opinions about what is and what not, and maybe we all may find something in our minority percentage that is something that mainstream has not let out, or anybody on the public side in the virtual world has let out, because there is a lot to this and it needs to be investigated.
Yeah, I would actually like any neg people that have extraordinary abilities, like psychic abilities, or mathematical abilities, or some even high-end autism abilities, that are just like wow.
Well, I picked up the guitar, and I thought about this the other day. That was kind of weird that I picked up the guitar and just started playing it. I just started playing.
We're known.
And that's kind of weird.
One of the traits.
Yeah.
Ronnie was trying to get me to tell, but I'm not. I'll tell him if somebody bring him up. But one of the traits is we have this thing for entertainment. Like me, I just one day decided that I'm a musician on the side and I'm a rap artist, and I decided after a couple times going to different studios that I was going to build my own. Now at this time I was 22, and I didn't know how they even made music beyond just looking over somebody's shoulder. So I went out first time and bought the wrong equipment. It was funny how, this is a long story, but it's funny how it ended up happening. I ended up building my own studio, training a nice-sized team of producers and everything, how to work the equipment better than they knew how to work it. They came to me and they already had some experience, and I showed them stuff that, they didn't even know. And
wow.
we're just naturals with entertainment. In entertainment, be it music or theatrical stuff, I end up getting to film here.
Audio visual.
Yeah. And it's weird. We're known to think outside the box. We're known to have higher IQs, and speaking from my own personal thing, I talk to a lot of professional people, from lawyers, and and actually have debates with them. And over the years, growing up, this and that, people I've known that went on to college and this and that, but I talk to professionals, and they look at me like, we know you have not been to college. How in the world do you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. It's funny how things will come to us. Like you'll just see something or pick up something.
I agree there, Tai.
You just see something, like you see a book, and by the time you open it and read through a couple pages, you understand everything. Or watch a movie, the first beginning of it, you understand everything. It's weird how that goes, but
we try to have a wonderful scanning process that pretty much breaks down the time barrier, because we're multi-dimensional beings, I think, and we don't exist in any time barrier. So when you scan something, it automatically is consumed, almost like a pill of limitless.
You said I was going to say it a bit different, but you said the same thing I was going to say, Ronny. I was going to say it a bit different, Princess. We're more in tune with the network. There is, what we all call our conscience. It seems like RH negatives are in tune with that. So some of your ADD that you've been diagnosed with in the medical field, it may be attributed to your natural characteristics of being a multitasker naturally. You often get a lot of ideas at once, and they may be diverse, but they all make sense to you, and it seems like it's on the same plane. Like, to everybody else, it seems like you're bouncing all over the place, but you're really working on, one thing. And sometimes it happens, and you don't even realize you're working on one thing, but it all comes together like one thing.
Oh, yes, exactly. And look through the history of your life and see how it all comes together into the big picture that you want.
I do that.
So that's why we were, when you was like, I've been diagnosed with ADD, everybody, you can kind of feel it through the radios. I mean, through the internet, through the Ethernet wires. Like, we were all like, oh, whatever. That's not a real. There's no such thing.
And I do talk to dead people. I mean, I can see spiritual energy and everything. I can communicate with dead people. I do have psychic dreams. My dreams are do you remember Quantum Leap, where the guy back in the 80s movie where he's jumping into different people's bodies, and that's how my dreams are. My dreams are like that every single night. And sometimes I'm myself, sometimes I'm not. It's almost like I want to say that it's me living, but in a different time, or maybe even at the same time.
Everything's possible in the astral. So you're doing all of that.
Let me say this in like a simple analogy, but it's the truth though. But do you realize, princesses, that your body is basically just a vessel that houses something that knows no bounds by time and space?
Exactly. Your
my body's just a vehicle to live here,
Right. And on this plane. But your mind and your spirit is not bound by any of that. So Pay attention to your dreams and your experiences and your visions, and don't hide from them. And although you may find that you cannot talk to them about everybody, there's a reason behind why you can't talk to them about it. Some people are not geared. They don't have the circuitry to perceive that you can. So
speaking of circuitry, nice segue.
And that also goes back to Thomas Campbell, our yarn last week as well, you know, with the data. But yes, talking.
That's quantum physics and quantum. Princess, you should look into quantum physics. I'm pretty sure you get it right off the bat.
Oh yes, you will.
I'm going to, because I'm confused. I don't know. I just don't know if it's. I don't think it's past lives, because everything seems to be up to date. Like last night, for example, I was with a big group of people, and we were bowling and having a good time. And it wasn't a normal dream. It was like being alive, and it was just, everything was real. I know the difference between real dreams, just regular dreams, and these jumping into complete different lives. Like, I know how to get to my house when I'm there. I know directions. I know the people. I have memories while I'm there of things that had happened there.
Yeah, in their lives. Hey, I got an assumption. But before I make my assumption, I got to ask a question. Have these dreams always been, or were they only after you started taking the medication and after you were diagnosed?
It started like 2 years ago to be like this. But okay. I get these dreams even when I'm cold turkey and I'm on nothing. Because when they started, I was on nothing.
Okay, well, maybe you have a restless soul, it's evident talking to you, and maybe that being pent up under those drugs and whatever things you repressed, maybe it decides to just go out partying while you're sleeping.
Could be. Because I'm housebound. I am housebound.
But you're awake.
So your mind and your spirit goes out and parties in other bodies.
You know what?
That's an opinionated statement. I thought I was making an assumption.
Well, my grandma was dying a few years ago, before these dreams started to be like this, and she was really, really sick, and started waking up really exhausted. And I remember going down the stairs because I was doing laundry and I was going up the steps, and I was thinking, why am I so physically exhausted when I wake up or whatever? And some voice came into my brain and said, because you've been traveling. And then after that, my grandpa was talking to my mom on the phone and said, Lorna's been acting crazy. That's my grandma. She's been seeing Kimberly, that's my real name, Kimberly, in her room every night, and she keeps on asking where she's going or where'd she go, because Kimberly's been in her room every single night. I just thought that was quite weird, because my grandma was she was in Texas and I'm in Iowa, and I couldn't be there when my grandma was sick, and she was really somebody that I was close to, and I just thought that was really strange.
Hey guys, can I butt in for a minute?
Yeah.
We got Fred sitting here patiently, and we really want to talk to him about some 432 hertz frequencies. So, can we continue this conversation at another time? And we'd love to have you both back.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, no, I want to. That is very relevant too.
It is indeed. Fred, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Cool, man, because I've seen a lot of these videos going around on YouTube with all of the love healing frequency being 528 hertz and a whole lot of stuff like that. And I know you've done a lot of research on this, so do you want to tell us a little bit about why you don't think that that's how it should be?
Hey, Fred.
Cool. Hi, Ronny. Oh, was that the caller? If that was the caller,
go for it.
No, it's Ronny.
Right.
Go for it.
No, I was just saying, hey, Fred.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought that up, Chris, because I've been seeing a lot of those videos too. How that started for me actually was well over a year ago, maybe even close to 2 years ago, where I saw these Leonard Horowitz videos where, you know, this 528 love frequency was being discussed, and it was talking about chakras, and I didn't know very much about chakras back in around that time. But my mom, however, she just got her AA degree a few years ago, and I sent her some of those links. And now, fast forward over to May. I decided to look at a talk by Marco Rodin. There's a 45-part video on YouTube about him.
Mr. Rodin of the coil.
That's correct. And I got distracted by this video that said, like, Marco Rodin and the 432 and CBM and stuff like that. So rather than starting a 45-part talk, I went over to that video, which was part 1 of 3, and it was Jamie Buter explaining essentially explaining a lot of stuff, but in some of it was explaining how the 528 is not necessarily frequencies, how essentially Leonard Horowitz is confused or has the math wrong or is just a misinformation kind of guy. I don't really know, and I don't want to get too much into that. Personally, I will say I've asked questions to Leonard Horowitz, and he hasn't answered any of them. He even blocked me off of his Facebook page.
Well, it shows you're doing something right there, buddy. People with books and people with any sort of money invested in their theory, you're not going to move them from it. It's just, that's crazy.
There is a old, and I run into things like that on Facebook sometimes too, on different subjects, of course. But there's an old legal maxim, old maxim of law that states that silence is acquiescence. In other words, silence is submitting. So by him doing that, he's just submitting to your charges. Whatever your charges are against him, they must be true, because he cannot contest.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I've asked a lot of people a lot of questions, and most of them, when they're true to their thing, they just answer truth, out of their hearts. And this guy just didn't answer at all. I've asked Jamie Buter a few questions, and he's answered everything to the best of his knowledge, and you can tell that this guy is onto something. And so essentially, anything that's like related to 528, it's not a love frequency. It's off, as a matter of fact, altogether.
So Fred, I believe that 432 has a connection with the DNA code and consciousness.
It might. One thing that Jamie Buter has researched, some of it started off with these Tibetan chakra bowls, and the crown chakra, the top chakra, apparently that's tuned to the octaves of 432. And I say octaves, and when I say that, you're just doubling the numbers to get the octaves. So essentially, 432 may be related to your crown chakra. It's related to a bunch of other things as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, I don't know if I'm going to say this properly, but in Indonesia there's a place called Borobudur.
Yeah.
It was apparently it's a Buddhist, some kind of a Buddhist temple or teaching vehicle that was completed in 830 AD.
Wow.
And I believe on this site, there are 432 stone Buddhas.
So it's pretty significant then. They don't, nothing like that we've been talking about tonight, both on the RH neg side and this, happens they all happen for reasons. Nothing's by accident. So yeah, we've got to take notice of those things.
Is although it seems far off topic, it is right in the midst of everything that we're talking. Well, from my perspective, things, because the whole Earth runs off of this frequency, and other frequencies. I can't think of the name of it right now, but this is also the frequency that music is played in, like industry music is played in, right?
440, yeah, and I believe that Hitler had something to do with organizing this frequency of 440.
Okay, I want to get into that because I've done a bit of research on this, and I've only been doing it since May, so it's been 5 months on and off. I've moved across the country. I've been looking for jobs on the side, so haven't been able to devote that much of my time to all this research. But on that topic, I've done a lot of research, and it seems like there's I don't know how much truth there is to Hitler and Goebbels being involved in this 440 thing. Because if you look, some of the documents that I've come across, they talk about how 440 actually dates to the late 1800s. And, the tunings, they varied over the years. There hasn't really been a standard pitch until they've been able to measure hertz. The hertz, right? That's how many cycles per second. Let's say that a string goes through that makes it. So if we go back, there hasn't really been a standard pitch. I believe in France back in 1859, they tried to make A at 435 hertz. That, I don't know how long that lasted. I don't think it lasted too long, maybe a few decades. So right now the standard pitch internationally since the 1950s or so, that it's been at 440 hertz. What that means is that pretty much all instruments, they are essentially made to be played in 440 hertz. Let's say like when most tuners, guitar tuners or I guess piano tuners, etc. A lot of them, they'll just come in 440, and that's it. Others, you can find the Korg tuners. A lot of guitarists and musicians, I'm sure, will know Korg.
Well.
Of course. Profile. I just bought one that's a profile, and I'm able to change the pitch to 440 or 432 or any other hertz. So
that's a nifty tool, buddy.
What does it pitch them out, or what are they saying there? What
was it? Who?
Tai, just mute your mic when you're not speaking, mate.
That was my friend, and he was having a side conversation about the significance of 440 even in electrical production. Here in the States, normally in residential properties you get 120, 110 AC. You can bump it up to 220, And actually, your utility bill would be about half if you bumped it up to 220 all your outlets, but it's expensive to do that in your house. But you can actually bump it up to 440, which I didn't know before he mentioned it. He's his background, he was a weapons contractor for the United States government for quite some time. He's retired now, but so he's an insightful little, side counsel over here. Yeah, I have it on mute, but I had unmuted it, and he just came up with an epiphany. My bad.
Cool. Apparently, the 432 hertz wave pops out as a triangle.
Yeah, there's a gentleman called John Stewart Reed who has a device called the Simoscope, and I believe what he does is he essentially gets shapes. I might get this wrong. I'm sorry if I do. You can look him up on Google, on Facebook. He's on there. What he does essentially is he takes pictures of what certain frequencies look like. And the 432 comes out as I guess you could say a bowed triangle. Like the edges aren't straight, they're bowed.
Have you seen what it does to a non-Newtonian fluid?
No, I have not.
That's one of those ones where you mix up water and corn flour or cornstarch, and then put it in a bowl on top of your speaker, and then play the tunes through it, and it moves, and it's like it's alive.
Okay, yes. That's
you know what I mean?
That's cymatics, I believe.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see the different shapes that the sand or the sugar or salt or whatever it is that you put on top of the speaker, and apparently the shapes that turn out to be the most interesting ones, from my understanding of it, is when the frequencies land on what I guess I'm guessing it's Pythagoras who came up with the most harmonic numbers.
It's like tuning a radio. It's like you're going to be one off and it's not going to sound right at all. As soon as you're right on the station, you're going to get clear.
Exactly. So when you I don't know if you've taken a look, Chris, in my pictures folder. I've got a folder where I've got some 432 related pictures, and I've got this chart of the most harmonic numbers set up. Very simply, you start from the number 1, and going down, you double, and going across, you triple. And
okay.
by doing this, you get a matrix of numbers. So going across, you get 1, 3, 9, 27, 81, 243, 729, 2187, so on. Right. And going down from 1, you get 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, and so on. And those numbers right there are very
familiar. Well, they are in the computer age, don't they?
They certainly are. The first computer my parents had actually was a 256.
Yeah.
Back about 20 years ago. But you look down at that matrix. If you go from 3 and you double down, if you go from 9 and double down, you get essentially these octaves of the frequencies. So 432 shows it up in the 4th column, when you start off with 27, 54, 108, 216, 432. That's those columns, by the way, you're familiar with the cycle of fifths. I assume you are, Chris. But the cycle of fifths.
Sorry, I got my mic. Yeah, I'm very familiar with fifths.
Yeah, so the first column, let's say those are the C notes. The second column would be a G. The third column would be the D. And the 4th column, where you find the 432, could be an and A, and that's where you get the tuning. And the argument, like when Ronnie asked about the connection with consciousness, if 432 is essentially tuned with your crown chakra, the other chakras will also be tuned with those most harmonic numbers that you find on that matrix.
And Fred, can you explain the advantage of having maybe a 432 tuning fork?
Well, with the tuning fork, I've seen a few videos of people tuning their water with 432 tuning forks. Essentially, they just ring the tuning fork, stick it to their glass of water, hold it there for, 10, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds or so. They're on YouTube if you look them up.
Sounds pretty familiar to the practice that I use of making crystal elixirs and using the frequencies from the crystals to tune the water. And I do it overnight.
Are you familiar with which frequencies that these crystals
well, they emit color frequencies, and mostly if you use a quartz-based one, I'm sure it has a frequency that is measurable, but I'm not sure what it is. We have to find out about the quartz ones, because people making orgonite are just making basically concrete blocks full of mangled energy unless they actually impart some energy into it, which I know a couple of my good friends, Jerry and Colleen, are doing with their orgonite, but unless it's actually something that's organized and like made properly, you're just going to be sending out mangled energy. So I think orgonite's got to be tuned.
That's pretty interesting. Well, I've seen, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Masaru Emoto.
Not so much, but tell us. I might do if I heard it.
Masaru Emoto, Dr. Masaru Emoto. He's done some flash freezing with water, and it creates shapes and so on.
Yeah, and
cool.
don't ever forget that water has memory.
I know now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen how some of the crystals come out depending on which music was being played to it, or what words were being sent to the water. So I don't see it as that far-fetched to tune your water in 432.
Well, you got to think that the human body is a huge percentage of water as well, so it probably works on the same principle.
And I gotta bring back the music that was brought up by Tai Weed. For the past, let's say, 60 years, the music that's been produced is in 4/4 hertz, and if we take into consideration that 432 is essentially tuned to our bodies and to the cosmos. Essentially, the music we've been listening to is not harmonious.
That's incredible, because imagine the effect that music has had on everybody's lives, you and me and everyone else here. And how good it's made us feel all over those years, even though it was off tune.
Well, look, you can go back.
Well, it triggers memories like smell. It's almost like another sense in one aspect.
It definitely is. Our bodies are perceiving, they're capturing the waves. When you're listening to music in your car, you're not just listening with your ears. All the vibrations are hitting your body. So, like John Lennon's "Imagine" is a feel-good song, and it came out as a beautifully shaped little crystal, like it looked like a snowflake when Dr. Emoto flash froze the water to it. But you take heavy metal, for example, that music came out all non-uniformed,
mangled.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, but I've also been explained to me that loud music in that form really helps to knock rough edges off young children or young teenagers' auras, and I've heard that it's actually a beneficial thing. And honestly, maybe I'm evil or something, but heavy metal just does it for me as well. Same with dubstep.
Well, I don't want to bash heavy metal.
It's a headbanger, Chris.
So if it feels good, do it. But it's more hedonistic than headbanger.
I wondered what that big lump on your forehead was.
It's not a dickhead, honey. Anyway, but you know how they talk about musicians, especially guitarists. Jimmy comes to mind, Jimi Hendrix. They say, "Oh, we tune down half a step." What effect does that have?
Well,
for a whole step in some cases, then you get drop D tuning and all that sort of thing as well. But I know it makes the strings looser and better able to be bent. But I'm just wondering, when you tune a guitar just by ear after all these years, how close do you get it to the right tune according to the guitar tuner? Can you hit it?
Yeah, I can.
You do. And it becomes part of you. It's like you can tune it to exactly the right pitch.
There was never guitar tuners back. These are really relatively recent devices in the last 20-odd years.
Yeah, we used to have a little mouth organ or a tuning fork or something that you'd take it from, at least one string to begin with. And, are we still here? Oh, we are. Oh, cool. Everybody just went, and that was the way they did it back then.
Fred muted his mic for a sec.
Oh, that's all good. I've lost my train of thought completely now, so someone else better say something.
That lump on his head's coming out again.
It's still your time, man. I'm listening intently.
So, essentially, if people are interested in learning a little bit more about the 432, there's quite a few videos on YouTube. So you can look up Jamie Buter both on YouTube and on Facebook. He's got a set of videos called the Cosmic 432. And he also has a Facebook group by that same name. I recommend looking him up. I recommend looking up Stellar Luna and Brian T. Collins. Those are two people that are pushing that. And there's a few other musicians that come to mind. Manus Martin is one of them. He's got music in that group in 432. It's certainly it's new to me. Keep that in mind. It's still new to me. I just started in May hearing about that stuff. So I recommend for people to just look that stuff, look up that info. If you can find some songs on YouTube in 432, look them up and just see how they feel. See if it's how they. Bro. Yeah, it might feel just like.
It's all about what sits with you in the end, isn't it? It doesn't matter what society dictates. What sits with you is what is going to resonate and make you feel good at the end of the day.
Ooh, I've got a good one. What if your blood type dictates how you feel music?
Oh! Well, that's a heated moment. Tai, come in, please.
If that's any help, I called my mom earlier, and I asked her if she knew my blood type, and she said I was probably an O negative.
I think you're definitely an O negative. I was going to bet on that. Yeah, put money on that.
And that's another weird thing. We all seem to attract each other by way of some mysterious force. You just end up knowing one, and it continues.
Yeah, I'm going to be.
I will agree with that. Majority of my very close friends on, not all, but majority are H negative, and that is not because I sought them out. It's just because we attracted each other.
Yeah, same with me. A lot of my friends in real life, long time since I've been, and a lot of those people, when you really go back and think about it, it was kind of weird how y'all met, and just clicked. So those type of situations go, and that goes right along with the traits. We are always the truth seekers, those who look beyond the envelope and feel comfortable talking about things beyond that most people would call taboo. So there you have it. You wouldn't be surprised if just about everybody listening into this long.
Yeah. And Truth War, are you there, mate? Truth War. Yoo-hoo.
Hi. Anyway, we're just about out of time, guys. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us. It's been amazing again.
Yeah, awesome. And I'd love to take it out before our lead out with some of Fred's 432 music. If Truth War is around, that can provide this for us. But we'll keep talking until he gets that organised.
That's not it. That's all good. I was hoping for some new earth here. Do you want me to post it again?
Yeah, post it again.
There you go, man. Play that funky music, white boy.
Thank you, Truth War, and thank you, Tai, and thank you, Fred, and we've had an awesome show.
That link goes into Facebook, and I'm not signed into Facebook on the station.
Sorry, Truth.
Fred, can you do a quick direct link to that MP3 that you have, please? Fred?
Maybe not. Never mind. Yeah, just hit the usual music, brother.
No, I guess that link didn't work.
Oh, damn. Bloody good music, I must say.
Yeah, man, I love that.
But very you know what? What we'll do is we'll provide the link on the Facebook group Outside the Margins. Anyone out there listening, join Outside the Margins, and you can get some archives from NFORMDradio.com. And by the way, if you can visit the site, cruise through the site, and look at all the topics and all the other announcers. Their shows are amazing, and you'll learn a lot from NFORMD Radio.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure and had a blast.
Yes, indeed.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye, thanks.
Thanks for calling, honey.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. What?
Okay, we're just going to read out the US call-in number is 772-905-3018. Love you all.
Love you guys, and we'll be back next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday night, 2-hour show. Please call in, and we'll another exciting discussion next week. Hey, Truth War, there's the MP3 now in the chat box for Fred's music.
Really? I'm having a little trouble with your outro here, but I've got it up now, but I can, if that tune will play, I'll play that right now, and then your outro.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, honey. Flirt.
Actually, it's going to take a minute to download, so I'll play your outro and then that.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. And thanks, guys.